Hi YouTube. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been fishing. Web fishing is a casual fishing game where you relax, hang out, make friends, and catch fish. Well, that's what I thought up until the guy next to me caught a whale. You see, on the surface, web fishing is about chatting and socializing, but really, it's about poaching protected species for profits. So although I installed this game looking for a hot, furry girlfriend, the competitive neuron lit up, and now I want a whale. So I fished, and fished, and fished, and oh hey, a whale. Now this is pretty cool, and I kinda have a YouTube channel that's starting to get views. Wouldn't it be cool to make a video about getting the biggest fish in this niche trending game? Well, with hindsight now, it's a pretty good idea. I don't think this game's still trending, and I may have killed all potential growth that this channel had. But hey, I got some pretty big fish. It only cost me a couple hours of my life, in my YouTube career. Before we get to this point, let's go back a bit and talk about web fishing. You start off with a simple wooden pole and a can of worms. Slowly, you work your way up by catching and selling fish. Then you use that money to fund your fishing adventure. You can also opt to spend this money on fun things like guitars and cosmetics. But do you really think I'm gonna spend all that money on fun social tools in the chat room game? I'm only here for the intense and immersive fish gameplay. To fish in this game, you find a body of water, whether it be a pond, the beach, a pier, or even the void. Then cast your rod, wait a bit, and when the fish bite, grab some grip tape, place it on your mouse, and drag click 50 CPS. Now you have a fish. There's a lot of things that influence the value of a fish, with the most obvious being the type of fish. Then there's the rarity. These are based on stars. They give money and funny little names, ranging from beta to alpha. These are determined by what bait you are using, but we'll get to that later. Finally, the most important thing for us is the size of the fish, which is mostly random, leaving it up to fate. To get the biggest fish, we need to identify which species is naturally big, get lucky with the size, and have the sufficient equipment to land it. Easy. When it comes to targeting fish, we're gonna fish saltwater, because the biggest freshwater fish is an alligator. This guy doesn't stand a chance against most of the saltwater creatures. Also, fly fishing is gay, whilst us based Chad tuna jiggers are strong and cool. So now that we know that saltwater is the play, what else can we do to ensure we get a big fish? Well, there's a couple of stats we can upgrade. Here at the shop, we can use our hard-earned cash to purchase improved gear. Rod power increases the amount of progress gained per click, allowing you to go from 1 point per click to 50. This sounds useless until you lose something crazy big and cool. Or it could be, I guess you'll never know. You'll just have to live with that. Reel speed increases this green bar. Catch chance is very useful, as it helps prevent insanity by slightly decreasing the average time it takes for a fish to bite. Without this, you'll spend more time waiting than actually fishing. Then there's rod luck. Rod luck is useless. Now these are just the standard upgrades, but there's a couple more things we can buy to enhance our fishing capabilities. Bait is very important, and I advise you all to spec all your gold into this as soon as possible to get that early game money up. Higher tier baits increase the odds of higher quality fish, as well as allowing us to catch new higher tier fish. The whale is a tier 3, which means any bait besides worms work. Although I just want to point out this system's really stupid, because you can catch any fish as soon as you've upgraded past the default bait. So you're not really doing this for the fish, it's for the cash. Another neat thing we can utilize are the buckets and their upgrades. Buckets allow you to catch fish passively, and by having both out at the same time, you can fish saltwater and freshwater whilst doing, literally anything. With that out of the way, the fishing began. I would fish saltwater at the pier close to the bait refill station, praying that at any moment God would bless me with an absolutely massive whale, surely earning me top of the subreddit, and maybe just maybe, 2 Reddit gold. Whilst this was happening, I was slowly raking in the big bucks, and before I knew it, I was maxed. Something I failed to mention prior was lures, because they do a lot, and I really can't be asked to explain them. For now, the most useful to me is the large lure. For $2,000, this thing increases the catch rate for larger fish, at the cost of taking extra bait, a quarter of the time. When you end up rolling the 25% chance, a little pop-up appears, which I thought was a sign that the lure works, but in reality it means nothing and I just lost 2 bait. It took me a while to figure this out, and it caused me a lot of mental harm. Oh hey, a whale. So, this is the biggest fish in the game. Now to just edit the footage, talk about the journey. What? So it turns out the whale isn't the biggest fish in the game. And after some brief investigations, I've come to the discovery that the biggest fish is actually the Leedsichthys? What? The Leedsichthys? Oh my god, wait, I'm like dyslexic.
Leedsichthys.
Leedsichthys. The Leedsichthys is actually a dinosaur. Now you may be wondering how I'm gonna catch a fish that's 165 million years old. And to answer that, I got one word: rain cloud. Some of the keen-eyed viewers may have noticed the big black cloud formation that sometimes pops up. And when close to this, you'll experience the effects of weathering. Rain clouds can spawn anywhere on the map and naturally drift towards the center over the course of around 10 minutes. Fishing in the rain increases catch chance, but most importantly, it allows us to catch some pretty rare rainfish. The only one I care about though is the Leedsichthys. I'm never gonna get that. But it also turns out that it's the rarest out of the bunch. The problem with rain, however, is unlike the whale, which I can just catch whenever I feel like it, I'm gonna have to wait for this one. Waiting for rain is really inconsistent, because sometimes you wait like 5 minutes and bam, back-to-back rain, but other times I'm stuck there, just waiting. By this point, it was starting to set in just how much luck I'd need to pull this off, but I had determination. The plan was to fish normally, looking for whales, and when a rain cloud appeared, I'd bolt over and have a crack at fishing wherever the rain was. But even after taking every opportunity to fish in the rain, I came out empty-handed. But then, it finally happened. The sleep I got. In order to fill in for the missing content on my YouTube channel, I decided, why don't I stream this? So I booted up OBS and began my first stream. It turns out that waiting was not a viable streaming strategy. But don't worry, in this 4-hour stream, I got one leady. Clicks? Could be something. Oh shoot, I almost forgot. During this stream, I also found out about the importance of catcher's cola, which when consumed boosts your catch chance. Before the next stream, a little update dropped, which adds something that could be revolutionary: the rain lure. Using this lure, you had a tiny chance to spawn a rain cloud when catching a fish, which would last roughly one cast. Now, the problem was, you were more likely to win the lottery 6 times consecutively than ever procking this thing. I swear, I've gone hours using this lure, and I've only managed to get one good rain cast in, which just ain't gonna cut it. But it's still the best I've got until I discovered something. Instead of waiting for the rain to come to me, why don't I come to the rain? With that, I started up another stream, now with a new and improved fish counter. I proceeded to spend the next 4 hours of my life fishing, swapping servers, then fishing again, until I found a server where it rained just a little longer than usual. Now I'm going to be honest with you, when I found this server I was going to leave, but surely just a couple of casts. Anyways, 3 hours later and I got nothing. And watching other people get stuff didn't really help much either. I went to bed that night and felt immensely guilty for cheating. But where do you draw the line when the alternative was just a server hop? But also, to be fair, I didn't get anything. I just lost some precious time. After this point, I decided to ditch streaming because I really don't want to have 50 streams just doing that again. There is nothing more miserable than watching a man catch trout over and over, hoping for the next fish to be actually good. I was also going to have to rethink my approach towards fishing and find some new strategies because things were not going my way. Alright, now you guys gotta bear with me as I proceed to use my brain. I've read the wikis, the Steam guides, and I've tested all of it. So I believe that I process and truly understand virtual fishing better than anyone. Also, I tried asking the dev about it, but I don't think they're too active. I'm gonna start with catch chance to make sure that every second spent truly counts. The chance that a fish bites is 6%. Every few seconds, the game will send a bite by picking a number between 0 and 1. If that number is less than your catch chance, then you get to play the game. If not, the game will multiply 0.05 with the number of failed bites and add that to the total sum. This continues until we reach a cap of 36%. To get to this cap as quick as possible, we have to use some modifiers. For example, our rod chance, which we upgraded way back, is multiplied by the initial 0.06 and summed with the other modifiers, such as 1.1 if it's raining. Other multipliers include a flat 1.3x from catcher's cola and a 1.1x from slow reeling. On the subject of reeling, it only checks if you're reeling every 0.25 seconds. So hypothetically, if I were to click every quarter of a second, I could slowly reel my rod in without any time wasted recasting. Incredible, so now we know that it takes this long for a fish to bite. But what are the chances of a leady? When a fish bites, 3 fish are naturally selected, and this is what lures do, by choosing which of the 3 you actually get to keep. By default, the game just picks the last rolled fish. The actual fish that appear in this virtual slot machine are based off mathematical formulas, yet again. For example, in the freshwater pool, the leady has a weight of 0.1, whilst the common carp has a weight of 1.25. When you add up all the values of freshwater fish, you get a number around 18. So the chance of one single roll being a leedy becomes 0.1 divided by 18, which roughly equates to 0.55%. Which is not good odds. Luckily, with the use of the golden lure, this value is cubed, giving us 1.64%, which is still pretty damn small. But we're not going only for a leedy, we want the biggest. Hence the use of the large lure, which sure, we're not getting leadies often, but picture this. Hypothetically, we caught 3 in one roll. One tiny, one normal, and the biggest possible one. Now with the golden lure, we're not guaranteed one, but at least with the large lure, I know for sure I'm getting my money's worth. Now this brings us back to the statistic that's gonna break me, and that's size. Sizes are based off a normal distribution curve, with each fish having an average size. This is literally the only reason we are fishing for leadies in the first place, which have an average size of 34 meters, according to this wiki, but it's kind of vague and I don't trust it. The center of the curve falls around 1.25 times the average size, with a standard deviation of 0.55 times the average size. The game uses the Godot engine, which uses the Box-Muller transformation method to generate random numbers. This method caps standard deviations at around 6.66, meaning that this multiplied by this summed by this gives us this, and because sample sizes are rounded to the nearest 0.01 with a minimum value of 0.01, we get a 0.01% chance of rolling this multiplier, giving us the biggest possible value. Now the wiki says the largest possible using this formula is 132.651, and I'm gonna take its word for it because I don't know how to access the code and this video is already 5 months in the making. So finally, the odds of getting the biggest possible fish. Assuming at best, the odds of rolling a leady are 1%, and the probability for a colossal is 0.01%, we are left with 0.0001%, or 1 in a million. And that's not even factoring in rain and biting. Adding that gives us 1 in 116 million, which at 10 fish a minute roughly equates to 22,000 years of straight fishing. Well, that didn't deter me, and I kept fishing. I got a lot of leadies, but the joy started to fade, as it became a chore at this point. I gave up on 6 deviations, I just wanted anything above 100 meters. There's a typical reference to a Far Cry game that I could make. I was way too lobotomized to even make this comparison. I was getting leadies, but it dawned on me that I wasn't getting even closer. Like Sisyphus and his boulder, I was trapped. Not growing as a person, forever stagnated. I lost everything. Just in search of a good video that I could never finish. Until now, screw it, I uploaded it and you watched this far. This is my pleading message, someone out there, go for this, but I'm not doing it anymore. The biggest fish, drumroll please, 70 meters. That's almost half as small as what I wanted and it still took me months. I wasted so much time, but someone out there's got to get something bigger than me. And that's why I made this video. If this video doesn't get 50 views, which I sure hope not, then please comment your biggest fish, send me proof on Discord, anything, please subscribe, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna do it. On a side note, I think I got the smallest possible leady. I don't know how to feel about that. But as for me, I'm free.